The book I read for my book talk is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. On the Road was published September 5th, 1957. It is ranked the 55th best English language novel of the 20th century according to the Modern Library. Before I tell you about my book, I'm going to give you some background information about Jack Kerouac, the author of this book. Jack Kerouac was born in 1992 in Massachusetts. He began writing in 1940. A turning point in his life is when On the Road was published. That was the first big success of his writing career. About 10 years after On the Road was published, he died from an abdominal hemorrhage at age 47. The protagonist in this book is named Sal Paradise, a young writer trying to figure out his life and who he is. In the winter of 1947, Dean Moriarty comes to New York and meets Sal. The two became extremely close, and together the two friends do 3 years of traveling across the country, having many adventures, meeting lots of people, and creating unforgettable memories. What I love about this book is how much the characters evolve and grow as people as you're getting further into the book. Sal changes immensely as a person through his travels and adventures. Falling in love and having to leave loved ones behind really matures him as a person. At the start of the book, Sal is depressed, lonely, and has no idea of who he is as a person. He's very insecure and doesn't like himself. As he travels around the country and finds who he really is, he becomes happier, more confident, and the tone of the book takes an abrupt turn when Sal matures and finds himself. Dean, on the other hand, starts out fairly happy and mature, but as the book goes on, he makes many mistakes and does numerous things that change him for the worst. It's interesting because it's almost as if they swap personalities in the end. Dean becomes very depressed, and Sal becomes happy and very confident. A very evident theme in this book is dissatisfaction. I think that is one of the reasons Sal travels so much and doesn't stay in one spot for long, is because he is always dissatisfied. He imagines things be better than they really are, and is constantly let down. This reflects back on himself. He never is truly happy with himself, and at the start of the book he would have considered himself a disappointment. Another theme in this book is instability. Most of the characters in this book have very unstable lives, especially when it comes to their family. Almost every character in this book have an unstable family. Dean's whole family was ripped apart, Sal lives with his aunt, and one of their close friends, Stan, has an awful relationship with his father. This is something a lot of people can relate to, having an unstable family or not a very good relationship with their parents. A pivotal moment in this book that doesn't give too much away is when Sal goes to San Francisco to live with Dean and his wife, Camille, for a while. Camille and Dean get into an argument, which resulted into her kicking them out. This sparked the idea for the two boys to travel around the country together. At this moment, the realization comes upon Dean how important Sal is to him and how much he cares about him. Dean has lost many people in his life and has countless ex-wives and has lost many friends. Sal is one of the only people in his life who has always been with him and has always been loyal and kind to Dean. Since Sal now has Dean's respect, they can now open up to each other. At one point in the novel, Dean cries due to the fault of Sal. We find out here that Sal gets uncomfortable with deep emotions because this surprised Sal made him uncomfortable. Since Dean finally revealed this kind of deep emotion to Sal, this strengthens their friendship even more. It's a reminder of Dean's humanity, which we lose sight of because he is more of a mysterious character and he always hides his emotions. This was an important turning point in their friendship. I love parts like these because you really get to know the characters, which is very important to thoroughly understand a book. A quote that really stood out to me was, "I shambled after I've been doing all my life after people who interest me. Because the only people for me are the mad ones, the ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones that never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles exploding like spiders across the stars, and in the middle you see the blue center light pop and everybody goes, aw." I love this quote because Sal is basically explaining how the people who intrigue him are the people who are edgy and aren't afraid to be themselves, the people who are crazy and live life to the fullest, loving every second of their existence. He likes the kind of people who stand out and don't try to be just like everyone else. I think that is very important. You shouldn't try to blend in and change yourself to meet society's standards. Be yourself and love who you are and don't live in the past. A quote that goes along with that is, "The road is life." That was said by Sal. I like this quote because he's saying it doesn't matter where they go or how they get there, but the experience, the memories made, and how it changes them is what matters. People are plagued with anxieties and always look so far into the future. You should just let go and go with the flow. Worrying will not improve your future, but living in the present and being happy will. On the Road doesn't remind me of any other books I have read. It's quite unique and different from any other book I have read. Overall, I found this book extremely slow and rather uninteresting. Personally, I found there was absolutely no climax, which was a big disappointment. Not much really happened, which made it very hard to finish the book. Although what I do like about this book is how profound it is and the wonderful characterization. It's all about finding yourself and finding who your real friends are. I loved how the characters changed throughout the novel. I found throughout this book I became connected with the characters, which I find very important to really understand a book. I wouldn't recommend this book to anyone. It was too slow and dull for my taste. But if you love novels with travel and great characterization who you become very connected to, this may be a book you would want to read.